Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Rio, and today I have my privateer 3v3, power setup and gear guide thingy, right? So, yeah, this is probably, I would say privateer is definitely the easiest class to pick up if you want to do team PvP. Privateer is definitely the easiest class to pick up. So if you're trying to start team PvP, you might want to do it on Privy, and especially because of the fact that teams, if you're on Privy, teams are usually happy to pick you up, because there's never enough Privies in the spiral. All right. So anyway, let's get into this setup, and yeah. So first of all, for my hats, the main hat that I use is the Corrupted Warlord's headgear. This is literally all I use. All I use for 3v3 at all is this. It's a Revive and a Valor's Fortress. Revive is great. You're the support. You want to have all those heals, so it's amazing. And then Valor's Fortress are like the bread and butter of privateers. Really, Revive and Valor's Fortress are like the bread and butter of privateers. So, you're the support, and you've got to be given those forts and revives. So it's a very, very good helmet. This is from the Tower Mu Manchu, and there's a level 60 and 55 version, and it really does not matter which one you have. They all do the same thing. As long as it gives Revive and Valor's Fortress, that is the hat you should be using. For the coat, so I mainly use Shosho's kit. All right. This can be found in level 35 group chests. If you just farm like in a group of 4, even a group of 2, you can get this pretty easily. Shosho's kit, so a lot of players think that the extra Valor's Fortress is a waste. But for me personally, I'm going to tell you why I run this. Because on my other 2 characters that I run, I don't want to have a bunch of forts and a bunch of VAs. I want to be able to, I want my privateer to be the support, right? So I got like 1 fort and 1 VA on each of my other characters, but my main support's the Privy. So those, I want to be able to have as much hits as I can on the other characters. So I decided I'm going to put the Valor's Fortress, on here, so I do not need to have a bunch of support abilities on my support characters, right? The next option is this Corrupted Warlord's Yoroi, or however the fuck you say that. Revive Big Guns. If you're on Staffy Privy, this is especially good because the extra revive is nice, and also the extra big guns. I have noticed a lot of teams who run like a charging team, like Buccaneer Swashbuckler teams type stuff, or even just really aggressive muskets and whatnot. They'll run this because oftentimes when you're being charged, you need to group up more. So then the other team who has extra big guns can big guns you even more when you're grouping up, right? And then the extra revive is also just nice. Now the final option is the Imperator's Panoply. However you say that. It's an Assassin Strike. This is probably the most popular 3v3 coat. Probably the most private coat. Probably the most popular private coat at the moment. It's nice. It's an assassin. Late game having that assassin can be very, very nice. So yeah, and this can be farmed from level 60 group chests. The other thing is it can be farmed from Obsidian boss group chests. So if you do Obsidian bosses in like a group of 4, you should be able to get this pretty easily. Next, for the boots. So the main pair that I run is the Corrupted Warlord's boots. It's a Big Guns Valor's Fortress. Gotta have a lot of forts on Privy, so that's really nice. And then Big Guns because early game combos. You can punish grouped up enemies with your big guns, obviously. This is the main boots that I run. But there is an alternative, and it's running Valor's Armor boots. Does not matter which one of these, they just give slightly different stats. But yes, there's the Valor Armor boots too that you can run. For me, I say if I'd rather have the fort here, and if I want Valor's armors, I'd rather put them on my pirates that are going like 2nd and 3rd. So my Privy can fort, and then they can Valor's Armor, so that the Valor's Armor will have the fort effects stacked. But this is an alternative if you don't have many or any VAs on the other 2 characters, and other 2 pirates you're playing with, then these could be a good alternative. For the weapon, Haywire War Mage Regalia. This is great. It's an extra melee hit, which is just awesome for late game. extra solid hits is nice. Because as a Privy, you lack a lot of solid hits, so having them is nice. And then the Surge of Technomancy, it's a mini purge, right? It'll remove the oldest buff put on someone, so it's really great if you're able to remove a fort or you're able to remove a VA. This Surge is amazing. Now, next option that I will run sometimes is Fuel's Wand. This is a 6-range wand, right? And if I want to be a staffy Privy, alright, and I just want to have those, getting heals out and whatnot, you're going to run this if you want extra range on your heals, alright? So, this would be pretty good with like a charging team, so you could heal people from farther away, right? So yeah. And then finally, there's Raiding Tackle. This is like, in the old meta, like every single privateer ran a Raiding Tackle. But now it's kind of fallen out of favor because Surge is just so strong. But part of the other reason is because it goes off of strength. So, that's not your main stat. So you're not going to get as big of a damage boost with a strength weapon. And you're also not going to have as much of a critical chance. But in 3v3, where there's a lot of Musketeer units, this is pretty decent since they have such low strength that your mediocre strength will still crit on them a decent bit. And then Valor's Rampart is obviously just a group absorb, 429. That's amazing. Group absorb is a really nice power, but it's just, you just gotta weigh the options. But if you do have this, you can run it sometimes. I mainly run this if I'm running with a Buccaneer, because Buccaneer can give strength buffs, and I can also get my Kraken's coils, right? And it'll affect both of us, so that's pretty nice. But when I'm, rocking with not a Buccaneer, I'll mainly run this Surge weapon or maybe a Fuel's Wand. For the accessories, the eye patches, the main one I run is Patch of Forceful Smiting because I just love those big guns. I love those early game combos, so I like that. The other thing is Patch of Paula's Wrath. This is a sorry about that. I'm back. Eye Patch of Paula's Wrath is a suitable alternative for the big guns. It's pretty. It's the same type of thing. You're going for combo hits, so that's what you'd run it for. If you get either of these, they're gonna have pretty much the same thing. But I think the big guns is just a bit better. Next, you can run Dispel, right? Technomage's glasses. Oh, and I am so sorry. These boots are from the Tower Mu Manchu. Level 55 and 60 versions also work just fine. These boots are from level 20 group chest and cool range. These boots are from level 30 group chest and cool range. This is from the Dreadnought, or you can get it from Verminius Blightbeard. This I farmed from Fuel. And then this I bought in the crown shop right here in the weapon section for 6,000 crowns right there. Yeah, it's a 6,000 crown weapon in the crown shop. And then for this, I got this one and this one from, you can get these from like Xena or Talos or Discolos and Aquila. Any boss that drops eye patches. And then Dispel. This is from Bishop. You can also get this from Kane. Essentially, it's like the opposite of Purge, right? It removes all debuffs in the area. So, if I want to get rid of a Swashbuckler Curse or I want to get rid of a Slow, I can bring Dispel. This is especially when I'm against Swashbucklers with Staff of Power. I'll run Dispel, and sometimes even Dispel on my Musket and my Privy, because that Swashbuckler Curse, since they have two curses, it can be really, really annoying and get you killed. Death's Bargain, this is not what I'd recommend for 3v3. It's going to get you killed a lot of the time, especially since there's a lot of Musketeers. This is way better. There's way more of a 1v1, sometimes 2v2 patch, but for 3v3, I'd recommend one of these three for sure. But this is dropped from the Tower of Mu Manchu. For the totem, I got the Tower Mu Manchu totem, Bauble of Mu Manchu. It's a Revive Valor's Fortress, the only totem you should be using for 3v3. Because Revive and Valor's Fortress are just so good. You're the support. You're going to be giving a lot of heals and a lot of forts. So having as much as you can is very, very nice. For the charms, we have Sprocket Key. So this is dropped from Bishop or Kane. This is mainly what I use because I like the Purge. If someone tries to get too aggressive, they try to charge or anything, I can purge them and focus them with all my units, and especially because of the fact that your Privy is always going to go first, so a purge on Privy can never, it's it's always a decent alternative. It's always a decent option, I feel like, because if people get a little too close and you can purge them, it's really, really nice. There also is this right-hand strands from Movement and Shoot Tower, just like the Revive Big Guns coat. Maybe if you're running Staffy Privy, it's really nice. And also if you just an extra Revive Big Guns, it's an option. And then there is the Special Branch Ribbon. It's an extra assassin. This is nice for the late game. Sometimes I'll run that. Sometimes I'll run Purge. It all depends. And this is dropped from. I got it from. I believe I got this from Rook's Second Chance chest. Now there is one other option that I do not have. It is the Valor's Fortress charm you can get from this boss in Khotan Skyway. It's an extra Valor's Fortress, but in reality, the amount of times you can actually use 7 is kind of rare. I tried farming for it. I did not get it. It's super annoying to farm, but it is an option. And then finally for the ring, the only ring I'd recommend is Brain Thief Ring. It's a great Big Guns Valor's Fortress. Once again, extra Valor's Fortress is super, super helpful because you have the support. And then Big Guns, early game combo hits. Once again, a lot of this stuff is just me repeating myself, but yeah, very nice. Pretty much the only ring you should be running. And then finally, let's go to the pet. Here's the main pet that I'm running right now, Miss Precious. Now, let me explain. First, let's just go over the talents, alright? First, we got Webs 1. So, if you don't know what that does, essentially, if someone tries... it works like a cheap shot, but if they hit them, they cannot move for 2 turns. So, it's very, very nice. And in combination with the Sneaky Sneaky, which we'll go over in a second, it's very, very strong. Next, we have Scent 3. This just means that within 3 squares from the pet, it'll reveal people who are hidden, and this is amazing against swashbucklers. It'll make them not want to fog, or it'll make them fog super early so that they can avoid the pet. Very, very nice. And then the Sneaky Sneaky just helps those because it makes it harder for them to actually focus on the pet and kill it. So it just makes the webs and scent last longer because the pet is gonna not die as fast. Now for the powers. Okay, for the talents, that's like the ideal talents. That's great for 3v3. Now for the powers, I have Kraken's Lament, Regroup, and Backstab. Now the Backstab is great, solid hits, and especially when I'm not running assassins, having an extra solid hit is really, really nice. Now the Regroup is pretty decent. I would rather have a Rainbow Blessing instead of that Regroup, to be honest, but it's still pretty decent. It's a nice group heal. It's an extra group heal. Very, very nice. And then the Kraken's Lament, it's not as useful, especially with more people not running Swashbuckler as much, and more people running like Witch and whatnot. It's not as useful. Ideally, I would like to have a Rainbow Bless instead of the Regroup, and a Brutal Charge instead of the Lament. But, you don't need to have a perfect pet to win. Your skill matters more. So that's the current pet that I'm rocking with. So, yeah. Now, let's go over to the power setup. Alright, so here is the power setup. Now, this may look a little bit weird to you, and I want to go over why it's like this. Now, keep in mind, this power setup is for how I play. I play with a Musketeer and a Witch Doctor most of the time, and I play for long-range combo hits early game, right? So I'm trying to bomb them, ghost whale them. My Witch is getting off Morn Songs and whatnot. My Musketeer is getting off, Ghost Whale, sniper shots, all that stuff. I'm not going super aggressive, so that's why you see Zeal and Fort all the way down here. If you guys have a super aggressive setup, like you're trying to just charge your Musketeer, trying to charge a Buccaneer down, you're in a Swashbuckler, you'd probably put Zeal on slot 1 and Fort's up. But for how I play, with the Witch Doctor and Musketeer, I play a little bit more of a passive, not as aggressive setup. This is how I have it. Discipline on slot 1, help me get critical bombs and help my team, my other pirates, get criticals and whatnot on their combo hits. Yeah, and especially because I use Lumba Moonskulls a lot of the time. I can combo one of my big guns and all the Lumba big guns and all that stuff, right? Early game damage. Number 6, we have Reinforce. This is to heal up, bomb damage, because if they're bombing us, I'm gonna need some group heals pretty early. I have artillery on slot 7. If you're a more aggressive setup, it might not be worth having artillery on the first page, but because I'm playing for combo hits and whatnot, it is worth it for me to have artillery on the first page. Ghost Whale on slot 8. An extra combo hit. It's great. If you had a Soul Reaver on a pet, you'd also put that up here. Pretty dang nice. I have Fort on slot 9. This is kind of like an emergency fort, right? If I need a fort a little earlier than I expect, they charge in some units. I don't get my slows off, this and that. Gotta have that early fort. Or maybe I want to go counter pressure with like my musketeer. I can put a fort on him and send him up. Battle Zeal on slot 10. Once again, if the companion fight happens a little early than I want to, it's good to have the Zeal in hand so I can use that. I have Rallying Call on slot 11. This is only when I run with a witch. If I'm not running with my witch, I'm probably not going to have this up this far. But when I am running with my witch, I can use this, try to get my witch some, critical Morn Songs, and try to get myself some critical bombs and whatnot. Right? I have Purge on slot 12. It's Purge. If people rush me, I need that Purge. I want to have that far enough up. Some people will put it up even farther, but since I have Exeter slows and whatnot, they're not going to be charging me as fast, so I have that down here. Focus Fire in slot 13. This is like for combo hits. I can like Focus Fire, and then we can use like Sniper Shot, Morn Song, some other stuff, just extra damage on the target. That's great. Another fort on slot 14. Once again, starting to, if I need to charge up my musket or this or that, got a fort. Slot 15, I have Regroup. The other thing you're gonna notice right here is that my forts are spaced out. If I did this, then I'd use 4 cards, and then once I need my fort after 5 turns, I got 5 slots away. I got another Regroup right here. Group heals. If they're bombing us, gotta pop some group heals. I have Revive on slot 16. Sometimes I'll put this up a little higher. If they're really comboing me down, I can revive a unit, get some, heals up and whatnot. I have Valor's Armor on slot 17. This is great to like emergency save a unit, or I can also just use it on top of a fort and just absolutely set up tanking and whatnot. I got my Valor's Shield on slot 18. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Extra group heal to heal up, whatever. Another fort. I'll explain a little bit more, and after that, it's pretty self-explanatory. I got my Surge on slot 22 because I'm usually not going to use my Surge too early. Usually, my Purge is what I'll use earlier, and this is more of a late game ability. I got some forts. Got my Spirit. It's like it's your mini Zeal, whatever. I have my Revives right here. Because mid game reviving units, mid and late game reviving is very, very nice. Enduring, got this Hide for emergencies. Another fort here. We'll got these buffs. This buff can be further back because I'm not usually rocking with any Buccaneers. Got my Lament for tanking. Got this Rally right here. Heals. Got some solid hits. This is my charge. Yeah, nothing much. Pretty basic. Got my Rouse, and then I obviously have Blast of Discord on the very last slot because it is always banned. It's literally always banned. So yeah, that is my power setup. Now let's go on to how I have set up some of my companions. Alright, I finished recording the video, and then I realized I forgot to show you what I have trained. So let's go to that. Now I have Naturally Spooky. This is definitely the best. This is definitely the best if you do Born in Krokotopia. That's definitely the best thing you can do, especially for Privateer. But if you do not have Naturally Spooky and you have something else, it's not the biggest deal. It's only 5%. And due to just rolls in this game and RNG, that's not even gonna matter because you're just gonna get a low roll or high roll. It's really not gonna make that big of a difference. Sure, it can, but yeah, if you're gonna make a new Privateer, definitely give them Naturally Spooky. But if you have not, if you already have a Privateer, I would not go back and make a whole new character just for the Naturally Spooky. Alright. Let's go over what I have trained. So I have Fast 2 trained. Yeah, I have Fast 2 trained from the Swashbuckler trainer. I have Spooky trained from the Spooky 2 trained from the Witch Doctor trainer. I have Relentless trained from the Hidden trainer and Witch Hunter trained from the Hidden trainer, meaning that I need Smashy weapons. Smashy weapons 2 to get that Relentless. And then I believe that's all I've trained. And then for the actual of like these abilities, for these abilities, let's see, what do I have trained? I have Sneak Attack and Walk in Shadows trained, and I believe that's all. Yeah. Yep. Oh wait, no, and Ghost Bow. So yeah, that's what I have trained. Now there is Barricades. So if you are gonna train Barricades, you're gonna swap out that Relentless and all the stuff, all the prerequisites for Relentless, and then get Barricades instead. For me personally, I have multiple, you know, privies. So I'm able to have some with Barricades and some, you know, I have, I think, one of them with Barricades, and then the others with Relentless one. So, but of course, not everyone has multiple privateers. Like, so, you know, you just have to think about it logically. Do you want the Barricades? Do you want the Relentless? I think with Barricades, you get to train up to Wind Spirit. So it's like, yeah, do you want the Wind Spirit and Barricades, or do you want the Relentless? It all depends. It's all depends on factors. So yeah, for me, I have Relentless 1 trained, but you know, you can also pick Barricades, and I have Barricades trained on one of my other privateers. So yeah, that's it for the training. Now let's go into the companions. All right, so here is how I have set up my companions. Yeah, let's just go over the companions. So first I got my Lemba. Here's how he's set. So let me just tell you, mainly I will run Lemba, Exeter, Emmet. If you don't have Lemba, then recommend running Exeter, Emmet, Bonnie. You know, and that's what I ran before I had my Lemba. Alright? And if you are free to play, you can run, you know, like Emmet, Bonnie, and like Jane Canary or something. Alright, so here's my Lemba. Here's how he's set up. Here's my Exeter. Have him set up with chains. My Otter, pretty normal setup, Overwatch 3 and Double Tap 3. Here's my Bonnie. I have her set up as anti-musket, so she has Quick Draw 3. Here's my Nausicaa. I have mine set up with stuns because a lot of times I'm not going to be running her on my privy for a 3v3 unless, you know, I'm playing with with people who do not have Nausicaa. But most of the time when I'm trio screening, I'm not going to run this Nausicaa. Here's my Goronado. Here's how he is set up. I don't use him that much. Ratbeard. Seem to use Ratbeard more for 2v2s, but if I'm running against a buck, I might bring a Ratbeard. Here's my Contessa. You know, she can help stop fog charges and whatnot. Very, very nice. The Gal. She can also, her Gal can stop Contessa charges. So that's also really nice. Here's my Jane Canary setup. Nice 5-range unit with stuns. Pretty dang nice. Temujin, don't use him that much, but here's how he's set up. Here's Bill. I don't use him that much either, but here's how he's set up. Toro, more of a 2v2 or 1v1 unit. And here's my Egg Shen. Don't really use him much, but you know, that's just how I set up these units. I'll even show you Mark, who I've literally never used ever. I'm just kidding, but like, yeah, pretty dang useless. Yeah, so that is how I've set up my companions. Just in case you wanted to know. That's how I set them up. I would recommend, I'm going to assume most people don't have Lemba, so I would recommend you run Exeter, Emmet, and Bonnie. If you do not know, Exeter you can buy in the Crown Shop. You can buy him in the Crown Shop. Where is he? Oh, yeah, you can buy him in the Crown Shop for 5,995 crowns. He's a very good investment. I like running Double Otter. He's very good. I would recommend buying him on Privateer for sure. So yeah, that is my Privateer power setup for 3v3, power setup and gear for 3v3. I hope this helped. If it did, leave a like, subscribe. I would appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, and thank you very much. So anyway, that's it for this video. Just wanted to show you guys that nice gear guide and whatnot, power setup guide. So yeah, anyway, that's it for this video. See you guys in the next one. Peace.